So this is my review of the Umidigi S5 Pro. This is the latest flagship device from Umidigi. Now, when they call it a flagship, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's at the same level of the Galaxy S20 or the LG V60, for example, but rather, this is Umidigi's take on a flagship. So you're still going to get very good performance and a very good display here, but it's certainly not in the same league as a $1,000 flagship. And I definitely wouldn't expect it to be either, because right now you can pick up this phone for around $300. Now take a look at the link in the video description to see the most up-to-date pricing for the phone. This device packs in a lot of performance for the price. So if you are looking for the best performance to price ratio, it's going to be really tough to find something better than the Umidigi S5 Pro. Now this device is GSM unlocked, so it is dual SIM as well, but in the US you can use this with any GSM carrier, whether it's AT&T, T-Mobile, Metro by T-Mobile. All those carriers are going to work fine with it. The device itself features a large 6.39-inch display. The display itself is AMOLED, so you're getting very good colors with it. Also very good viewing angles as well. It really does make the device feel even more premium than it already is. It's 1080p. We're getting a PPI of 403. We're getting a 19.5:9 aspect ratio. And another amazing thing is that we're getting a 93.1% screen-to-body ratio. There are very small bezels all around this device, and there is no notch, no hole punch, none of that for the front-facing camera. And the reason for that is because this device actually features a pop-up front-facing camera. So I know this was really popular with the OnePlus 7 Pro, for example, but it's amazing to see that Umidigi is providing us with this pop-up front-facing camera with a device in this price range. Now I know that there's going to be some people that are concerned that using the front-facing camera relies on a motorized mechanism, but Umidigi has promised that this pop-up camera, which is 16 megapixels by the way, can last up to 300,000 pop-ups. Now, when I mentioned this in my hands-on and first impressions video, there were a few people that said, wait a minute, only 300,000? So 365 times 2, 730 days, so 300,000 divided by 730, that would mean that you'd have to take over 400 selfies per day for you to get through those 300,000 pop-ups in a period of 2 years. So the point is that you're never going to get to the 300,000 pop-ups, so I wouldn't be concerned at all about the pop-up front-facing camera. And another cool thing too about the pop-up front-facing camera is that you know that you're getting maximum security. Now, I'm not one of those people that necessarily thinks I'm being watched through the front-facing camera with any device that I have, but at least you know 100% that the camera is tucked away and hidden in the body of the phone, so you do have maximum privacy. So that's another benefit with it. Now the Umidigi S5 Pro gives us 256 gigabytes of internal storage with microSD card expansion. So that's absolutely insane that for $300 we're getting that much internal storage. That's a really good value. The device does not have wireless charging, unfortunately, but we do get an in-display fingerprint sensor. So we'll give that a try right now. And you can see, just like that, let's do it one more time. You can unlock the device using the in-display fingerprint sensor. So that's really cool as well. Now on the back side of the phone, we have a quad camera setup. So we're getting a 48 megapixel main camera. We're getting a 13 megapixel ultra wide angle camera at 120 degrees. We're getting a 5 megapixel depth sensing camera and a 5 megapixel macro camera. So you get a lot of different photography features here with the phone. Now later on in the video, I'll show you photo and video samples from the phone, but basically, here's how things look through the main camera, and then we'll switch over to the ultra wide, and you can see a lot more content is able to fit into the frame. And then there's a lot of other modes like HDR, UHD, Pro mode, and then going over here, we can see there's the macro camera. You can get extremely close and take those macro pictures if you want. Now, one of the things that I've noticed with every macro camera that I've used with a Umidigi device is that you do have to get extremely close. Like when they say it's macro, they're not kidding. It is extreme macro. But I suppose that is the purpose of the camera, so just keep that in mind. Now, the Umidigi S5 Pro features the MediaTek Helio G90T, and it features 6 gigabytes of RAM. Now, this is the first phone that I've ever used with the G90T, and I've got to say the performance on here is absolutely insane. It is really good performance. I got an overall score of 285,836, so that's really good as well. And there is not another phone that I've covered in this price range that's gotten me a score this high or even close to this high of a score. At around $300, this phone is pretty much in the same price range as the Samsung Galaxy A51, and this performs extremely better. Now, the Umidigi S5 Pro features a very beefy battery at 4,680 milliamp hours, and you do get 18-watt fast charging. And then the software on here is Android 10. It has been modified a little bit, but overall, a very stock experience. No bloatware either, which is great. I did install a variety of my own apps here on the phone for the purpose of testing them out, but you're not getting any other junk on the phone. Another cool thing too about this is that we are getting NFC, so if you are someone that uses NFC, then the Umidigi S5 Pro will satisfy your needs. But now that we've talked about the specifications of the device, let's get a little bit deeper into the hardware here. So I already talked a lot about the display and the front panel, so really good screen to body ratio and a great looking display as well. But on the left side of the phone, we have just the slot for the microSD card and SIM card. Another thing I want to mention too is that this phone is decently thick, but in a good way. And that's mostly due to the large battery, and I'm not really sure what else would make it thicker. Maybe the extra storage, but that's a pretty tiny part of the phone. But it is a little bit on the thicker side, but not thick in the sense that it would be annoying. So it's nice and light and easy to hold and everything, but maybe not the thinnest device I've ever used. Then on the right side, we have the power button and volume button. Then on the top, we just have the pop-up front-facing camera, and then on the bottom, the microphone, USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and the speaker. Then on the back of the phone, all we have is the Umidigi logo and the camera module. And then this material on the back is certainly a bit of a fingerprint magnet. So in general, a really good design here with the phone, definitely very practical. And, it's up for debate on whether or not it really was worth it for them to give us the pop-up selfie camera. In some ways, I kind of do wish that they just gave us a hole punch for the front-facing camera, just because sometimes it's a little bit easier to take front-facing photos than to wait for the camera to pop up. But I certainly don't think it's a deal breaker either. Like I mentioned, there are some benefits with having the pop-up front-facing camera, especially when it comes to personal privacy. Now, if you're really into social media, then just know that the Umidigi S5 Pro does work really well for that. Super smooth scrolling going through my feed here. I can also go to my stories, and that's very smooth as well. So great performance there. You can also swipe over, and you can take front-facing photos and videos. The camera does automatically go up. You can also switch to the rear camera, and the front-facing camera will then go down. So in general, everything works nice and smooth here. And, Umidigi did a great job with optimizing the device to work really well with, I guess, pretty much any application. 112 gigabytes. And the iPhone 11 is available in 64 gigs, 128 gigs, and 256 gigs. But there is no SD card slot with this phone, so you're stuck with whatever amount of it. So the Umidigi S5 Pro is an excellent device for watching video content. And this is really where that notchless design comes to the biggest benefit, because you can watch video here cropped in with nothing in the way. So I really appreciate that. And then video just really pops and looks awesome with this AMOLED display. Now the speaker quality is good with the phone. However, the audio just comes out of the speaker on the bottom. There are some other devices I've used from companies such as Motorola, for example, where they've managed to have audio come out of both the earpiece and the speaker on the bottom. And when you're watching video in landscape like this, it does give you a bit more of an immersive experience. So just having audio come out of this one speaker certainly is not a deal breaker, but there is still a bit of room for improvement. But in general, I am very satisfied with the video viewing experience with this device. The Umidigi S5 Pro is also great for browsing the web. You're gonna get nice, smooth performance going on different websites such as Engadget, for example. Text looks really clear, pictures look really good as well thanks to the awesome display on the device. So it really is a very good phone all around for content consumption. But let's now take a look at some photo and video samples from the phone. So I've been very pleased with the camera taking abilities with the Umidigi S5 Pro. In the past, I've been a bit critical of Umidigi regarding the quality from their cameras because typically they promise a lot, but the final results don't always look the best. But thankfully, times have changed for the company, and I've got to say that with the S5 Pro, the quality is some of the best I've ever seen from a Umidigi phone. I really like how it pulls a lot of colors out, and the pictures certainly don't look drab or washed out. They really do look bright and vibrant. And in some situations, I feel like maybe there might be a little bit too much saturation, but at least it makes the pictures really come to life, and I certainly don't have a problem with it in general. So I'm happy with the photo and video quality from this device. I'll show you some video samples in a second here, but I definitely feel like this is the best camera quality that I've ever gotten from a Umidigi phone. And especially compared to this device's predecessor, the Umidigi S3 Pro, which came out last year, this phone is dramatically better when it comes to the quality from its cameras. But beyond that, I'll just let the photos speak for themselves. I'm sure you've already had a chance to look at them, and you can come up with your own opinions. But let's now take a look at some video samples from the device. Hi everyone, this is Kevin here, coming at you with a front-facing test video from the Umidigi S5 Pro. So let me know what you think of the video quality as well as the microphone quality from the device. Definitely curious to know what you think about the quality. What's going on everyone? This is Kevin here coming at you with a rear-facing test video from the Umidigi S5 Pro using the main camera on the rear. Let me know what you think of the quality. I don't really see any autofocus in video mode. Yeah, it doesn't really seem to be focusing in video mode. But you can tap to focus, so that works. I'll try that here. And it is very windy outside, by the way. But let me know what you think of the quality. So in conclusion, is the Umidigi S5 Pro worth buying? I would say that Umidigi priced this device extremely competitively. At $300, this is an excellent value. Now, if the phone is priced more than that, then deciding to buy it might be a little bit of a tougher decision because there are other devices from other brands, like the Samsung Galaxy A71, for example, that you can actually buy right now for around $400. So considering that this device and that device have about a $100 difference, that makes sense. That's totally fine. And that definitely gives the Umidigi S5 Pro a lane of its own. But the point is that if this device was any more expensive, like $350 for example, or $375, then I would say that there are other options out there that I would prefer. But considering that this phone is only $300 and you're getting all the various features and amenities with it, then I think this is definitely an excellent value. There's really 4 things with this phone that really make it stand out to me. Number 1 is the amount of storage you get. I really appreciate that we're getting so much storage at 256 gigs. The second thing I really like is the display. This phone has an excellent looking display. The third thing that I like a lot is the camera quality. Umidigi has come a long way with that. And finally, my favorite thing, and definitely the thing that I feel like Umidigi made the best decision to go with, is the processor. I'm really glad that they gave this phone the MediaTek Helio G90T. That's a really great processor, and the fact that we have that processor at such a competitive price for the phone overall definitely makes this phone an excellent value. So like I said, in conclusion, the price of this phone is really what makes it such a good option, because if it was more expensive, then I feel like there are other options that are just as good, if not better. But the fact that this is just $300 really does make it a great value. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and to see the most up-to-date pricing, as I'm sure prices might change over time, definitely take a look at the link in the video description. But my name is Kevin. This is my review of the Umidigi S5 Pro. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. I'd also like to thank Umidigi for being kind enough to send this phone out to me to cover here on the channel.